Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I would love to be a good politician right now and tell you that we've got, a DOJ that we could expect to actually do enforcement of their own DOJ.
I don't have time for him. That's what Jasmine Crockett just said about JD Vance, the vice president, after he tried to drag her publicly. Now look, politicians clap back at each other all the time, right? But this response, this was different. This was dismissal on another level. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the internet has completely lost its mind over this moment.
But we are living in the age of corruption, and it is so unfortunate that not only is there a lawful subpoena that has been out there for quite some time from the Oversight Committee, but now the entire House and Senate passed a law that was signed into law, the Epstein Transparency Act, that will not expire at the end of this Congress. And we still have a defiant Attorney General who has decided that her oath is to Donald Trump and it's not to the Constitution. And so it is very difficult to imagine how we are going to get anywhere with this particular DOJ.
Congressman, can I ask you really quickly about an effort, your oversight colleagues, Congressman Ro Khanna, also Congressman Tom Massey, they were on CBS earlier today. They were asked about what they can do following this, what many are describing an illegal breach by the Department of Justice in not releasing the Epstein files. Take a listen to what they said they were willing to do next.
The quickest way, and I think the most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi.
We're building a bipartisan coalition, and it would fine Pam Bondi for every day that she's not releasing these documents.
Would you support bringing those charges against Pam Bondi?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's not a question about that. But again, we know exactly what all they went through when it came time to us even getting those signatures onto the discharge petition. I mean, for everybody that thinks that it's a mistake or thinks that the timing isn't questionable about the fact that we got out on Friday and instead of us actually being in, and it just so happened to coincide with the day that the DOJ was supposed to do their production. I mean, this is all obviously an effort that not only the Speaker is involved in, we obviously have the DOJ and the White House involved in this cover-up. And so, we'll see. Will Mike Johnson have his members under control to the extent that we're unable to get the numbers? But we know that this Speaker is willing to shut down the House if it means protecting this corrupt president and his administration.
Congresswoman, have you been in touch with any of the Epstein survivors since these documents came out? And if so, what have you heard from them?
No, I have not. Obviously, we had the release once we were released from our duty. We were released on Thursday, and I've not been in touch with them since then, no.
Congresswoman, we had one of the survivors, Liz Stein, on earlier, and she talked about the fact that we keep hearing from people in the White House, at DOJ, that they are in touch with survivors. But she says, to her knowledge, not only has she not actually been contacted or given the opportunity to have a phone call, but that the many survivors that she's in touch with, talking to basically every single day, that they haven't had that chance to have a real conversation with the people who are supposed to be investigating this, leading the way on this. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think we all know why it is, but I appreciate the question. These are people that are more interested in covering for pedophiles than they are seeking justice for these survivors. And that's actually how we all got here. I mean, I think that, yes, it was great that he went out, he made a campaign promise. But as we know, this president is good at making promises and terrible on actually following through on those promises. We know that part of the reason that there was a rift between Donald Trump and truly one of his most loyal supporters, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was actually over this very issue. I mean, Marjorie was trying to make sure that the president was in touch with the survivors and would sit down with the survivors. She was trying to be a go-between, something that I could never be for this particular president, and she was unsuccessful. And instead, he decided to call her a traitor. He decided to go against her. So it is clear that this administration knows that this president is involved as it relates to these Epstein files. In how many ways, we don't know. but we know that they are willing to do everything that they can to cover for him. And frankly, the people that are still standing by him, honestly, I don't think that it really matters what all he did. They're going to stand by him anyway. And they could actually move on from this if they would just go ahead and be transparent instead of doing things that put the survivors into a worse position, instead of actually allowing those donors of his, those friends of his, those other powerful men that still may be involved in some sort of sex trafficking, allowing them to have a pass and allowing them to remain in the shadows.
Look, at the end of the day, Jasmine Crockett showed us something important here. You don't always have to match someone's energy. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply not give them the attention they're looking for. "I don't have time for him" might be 6 words, but it spoke volumes. Alright fam, if this video opened your eyes, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to see it. Y'all already know, more videos dropping soon. Stay tuned.